Record. Okay, we're recording this to my brand new Mac Air, whatever this, MacBook Air. There's nothing like going into the Apple store and discovering that your own laptop is about to die. And coming out with a brand new one in your hands. It's not a good feeling, although I gotta say I really like it. So anyway, all's well that ends well. What a great month it was. And so many of you had your personal bests. Some of you who are really new to us had your had phenomenal first months and 2 months. Hi, Randy. And a lot of you have been with us for a while, worked so hard to get extra parties on your calendar to help your teams do the same. And so because of it, the numbers overall in our entire organization were so high. I mean, 20% increase, 30% increase. Some of you had 100% increase over this time last year, January. I mean, just wonderful, fantastic things. I love seeing all of your successes. We're still in the middle of being away. It's hard for me to distill all the, and do all the calculations, but soon I will. Who is that? Is that me? I don't know what.
Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. I just didn't know if it was me, if I was creating that. So what I want to do tonight is I have a couple of people that I want to highlight, and I'm going to interview both of them for just a couple of quick minutes, and then I'm going to allow you all, if they're okay with it. I didn't ask them this part ahead of time. If they're okay with it, for you to just ask them a couple of questions about how they achieved what they did, because the things that they're doing are very unique, and they have some very interesting perspectives that I think are going to illuminate all of us. Then after that, I want to talk with you briefly about how to change the mindset of you and any leaders on your team, and take it away from that minimum. Oh, I've got to get the $3,500. Oh, I've got to sell my $1,200, and moving that perspective to what is a $10,000 organization look like, a central board look like? What is it, or if you've already hit that, what does a $20,000 organization look like? And then the real question is, how do I work with my team? I get this question all the time. What is it that I'm supposed to be doing? How do I know who to work with? And we're going to answer that question tonight. And a couple other things. So first of all, let's see. Heather Taylor, is it okay if I start with you? Oh, good. Can you unmute? So Heather and I met when I was invited to attend a little leader gathering earlier in January, and I think it was the first time I got to meet Heather. And Heather lives in Virginia and owns a dance studio. And Heather, when did you start with Touchstone?
October 27th, I signed on.
Okay, great. And had you been a hostess prior to that?
One time.
Okay, right. And how had you met Terry?
She was a consultant for 3 of the parties that I went to, and then the consultant for the one that I hosted.
Okay, got it, right. So after all that time, what triggered you to try Touchstone? You've got a busy dance studio and employees and kids of your own.
So I went to the first 3 parties and spent about $200 to $300 at each party. And the first couple times, I was not feeling very well. I was going through a few things, and she did say, I think you'd be really good at this. You have so many contacts. And I was like, no, I'm tired. I'm just not ready, because I still wasn't feeling well. And the third time I went, I was feeling much better. My health was back to normal-ish. And I bought another $200 to $300 worth of jewelry, and she's like, Heather, I think you're ready. I think you're ready to start. You're spending all this money you could be earning this jewelry, and I just think you'd be really good at it. So I was like, okay, what the heck? What could I lose? So I was really only just planning on, like, she's like, do you want to do in-home parties? I'm like, no. And she's like, okay, well, how are you expecting to make sales? And I was like, maybe I'll just put something like I have a little like jewelry case at the studio, a display case. And I was like, maybe I'll just stick some in there and see what happens. She's like, okay. And then I told it, I started talking about it, and that I was starting, and then I just had a bunch of friends like, oh, we'll host. And I was like, oh, okay, I guess I'm going to houses now. So it just kind of took off from there.
So how many parties did you end up doing in your first month or two, like before Christmas, up through Christmas?
I think, let's see, I did my launch party, and I think I did +3.
Plus three.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden, something else happened. All of a sudden, other people wanted to join you on your team.
Mm-hmm.
How many people have you sponsored since you started?
8. So I have 8 right now, but I think one decided not to, so we're back down to 7.
Okay. That's not a bad statistic. And so I heard you explaining how you speak to people at parties to entice them to consider the business. Would you mind sharing how your mindset on all this, because it's really contagious?
Okay, cool. So first, I'm very excited to be doing this. Every party I go to, I'm really, really excited to be there, just because meeting new people and new opportunities. So when I first started sponsoring, I was doing the whole going through my phone, going through Facebook, contacting my friends, any family that I think would benefit from it. And I was basically calling them up and telling them, this is something you really should do. I wasn't offering them the business. I was saying, look, you need to do this. You should do this. And they were like, oh, okay, well, why? And that gave me the in to be able to really explain to them why I think they should do it and all the benefits.
What kinds of things would you say to them?
I would first start off by saying the career plan's amazing. So one night I was up at like 2 a.m. and I have a black binder and I printed out the entire career plan. And I went up to bed and I sat there and I read it from cover to cover. And I read it again and I read it again because I really wanted to understand all the steps and how to get there and all the percentages and everything. And there's so many numbers involved, so that's why I read it again and read it again so I could really understand it. So I talked to them about the career plan and how amazing it is and how you can have fun, just doing parties once in a while, or you can really make it a career and make it your own business and really build it. So that's the first thing. And then I just talked to them how awesome the jewelry is, and everybody loves the jewelry. Everybody, everywhere I go, everybody approach. I got approached 4 times yesterday at the mall. I talk about how awesome the jewelry is and the quality, and I just do that. And I talk about everything, how exciting it is, and how much fun I'm having, and how much more money you can make, and it really depends on what their situation is. So, and that's kind of what I work on. So I have a cousin who lost a child a year ago. So my focus for her, genuinely from my heart, was I need you to get out of the house. I think this would be a really, really great opportunity for you to get out and socialize again and maybe meet people that will help you heal. And then, someone else really needs the money. I'm like, look, this is amazing. You can quit your horrible evening job, working from 11 to 7 a.m. and just build your team and build your business. So it just really depends on what their situations are. And I just focus on a way to help them. Really, I
make it personal.
Yeah, I make it very personal in a way that they can better themselves, better their situation, or just get out and have fun.
Right. Neat. And so what has happened since then?
So since then, I have sponsored 8. They're all doing it really well. A lot of them are still in their glam plan and trying to figure it out. I'm taking a lot of pointers from Terry, trying to meet with them a lot. I had my first working dinner 2 weeks ago, and that was a lot of fun. And we actually booked, amongst all of us, 5 parties. Nice. I'm really just trying to do everything that Terry's teaching me.
Right.
Yeah, I'm going on every single training call. Even if it doesn't pertain to me, even if it's a new consultant call, I'm on it because I want to learn how to approach the new consultants. What do I need to say to my new consultants to help them along the way? So I'm just really trying to get in as much information as possible that I can to help me learn.
And are you having fun?
I'm having a blast.
Did you make some money in January?
I made some money. I made an extra maybe $2,000, I think.
Wow.
With all the bonuses and then the incentives for sponsoring and.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks. It was awesome.
You didn't see that coming, did you? When you said, no, I don't want to do any parties.
What did,
Funny how that works.
What was your question?
That you didn't see that coming when you said, I don't want to ever do any parties.
Well, and then the other thing is, and people look at me like I'm crazy. I have tried everything. I have done Mary Kay, Roden and Fields, Amway, Unique, Young Living, Javita. I don't even know if you guys ever heard of Javita. It's a coffee thing. I tried everything. Yeah, everything. Just because I'm like, sure, why not? Sure, why not? What the heck? They all went nowhere. So that's another reason why I was I was hesitant to start this, because I'm like, I went nowhere with anything. I didn't recruit anybody. I didn't sell anything. People just were not interested. You can't have facial parties with Roden and Fields. It's a great product, but there's not much you can do to promote it. I still use it, so it's not that I'm trying to bash it or anything, but and then other things, you had to really buy a ton of stuff and have it on hand. So again, when I sat down and saw how simple and easy this was, like, I can't believe how easy it is. How the minimums, there aren't any unless you want to go somewhere. It can be as little or as much as possible. So the minimums, if I want to do it 1 month, great. If I don't, no problem. And the jewelry just sells itself. I really can't believe how easy it is.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I meant to ask you too. It seemed like somebody on Frontline to you has started sponsoring also. True.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So my sister, she sponsored 3 already.
Oh.
Yep. So she started right in when did I start? So she started right after me in November, because I was like, okay, you're doing this with me. I talked her into doing Mary Kay with me too, like 10, 15 years ago. And she was like, this isn't a Mary Kay thing, is it? I'm like, no, it's not a Mary Kay thing. So she just sponsored her 3rd, and so I just flew up to New York. They're all in New York. I just got back at 4:00 today.
Oh.
So I met with her team. We did what Terry's done with all of her team, and had lunch, and went over the career plan, the glam plan, everything. And their eyes get this big. So that's what I did. And I had a launch party too for my cousin who started, and she did great. She had a $400 party.
Nice.
And she used to do some makeup thing, and she had to be really interactive on Facebook all the time with facials. So she wasn't sure about this either. And we had her 2-hour party at her house, and we're calculating how she just did. I'm like, Beth, you just made $100. And she's like, what? And I was like, we stayed here for 2 hours, had a blast, had some wine, and you just made $100. And she's like, this is crazy. So she was just floored by how easy it is. It's so easy.
That is great. It's fun, isn't it? Isn't that feel good? Yeah. Nice. Okay, I'm going to save you for a moment because there might be some questions for you, but I want to move on to Heather Driscoll. Heather, it is so nice to meet you, and congratulations on all your success. Wait, I think I muted you. Hold on. Okay, you're unmuted. Now, so Heather, I wanted to ask, do you mind if I ask you a couple questions? Can you hear me?
Go for it.
Okay, great.
Can you hear me?
Yep. So where do you live?
I'm in Arizona, in the mountains.
In the mountains. So that's
north of Phoenix.
North. Okay, great. Up toward the Grand Canyon, that area? Flagstaff?
It's kind of the geographic center of the state. So.
Oh, okay. Neat. And how did you hear about Touchstone?
Lisa Snow.
Lisa Snow, right there. There she is with her smiling face on. That's what I thought. Okay.
My college roommate from Ohio State. So.
Oh, wait. This is a little like Shauna and Lindsay. This Shauna and Lindsay's story, except they were best friends in high school. Oh, very good. Yeah. And what were you doing before you started Touchstone?
I'm a critical care nurse and manager. So this is really fun to use a different part of my brain. Very fun part of my brain.
What was it that made you want to start?
Lisa called me a couple months ago and said, hey, I've got this opportunity. I'm not sure. I said, do it, girl, do it. And then she said a couple months later, why don't you do it? I'm like, what? And she came out. Yeah, we were pretty strategic. We had a lot of shows planned. Like we planned it well, and we thought about it, but we've had a blast, and we've had so much fun talking. And like Heather said, it's just pretty easy and energetic and fun and positive. So
when did you start?
December 1st.
Okay, December 1st. And how many team members have you personally sponsored?
3.
And how many team members have they personally sponsored?
Lisa'd probably be better at the numbers. I'm trying to think of, one has 2, 2, and 3, or 2, 2, and 1.
Okay. So right now,
I can add.
do you have about 8 team members or so total?
Yeah.
7, 8. Lisa, you might
Yeah.
know. Okay. And
Yeah.
you all did a couple parties in January. I saw a few numbers. What was y'all sitting down? What do you know what your entire group sales were for January?
Lindsay sent it to me. I should look it up. Do you have it right there? Or Lisa might have, Lisa probably. What did she say? She put Lindsay, it's really fun when you see.
I have it. Yeah.
Do you?
It was a
My
lot.
team.
It was somewhere around, hold on, I want to get the right number. She sent it, Lindsay sent it to me since you don't have it there. The number is,
I can tell you what Heather personally.
it was $23,000. $23,000. Lisa, do you know how many parties that was total?
How many parties
Yeah, how many parties they did?
they all did combined?
Yeah.
It was all happening so fast. I went out there the first week in December and did 4 parties with Heather, and I wasn't back, and she had already sponsored her first person, and then the other 2, and they started sponsoring. And the thing that's been really amazing about them is they are all working together, and they're all brand new, and they're leaning on me and they're leaning on Lindsay. Mm-hmm. And we're trying to help get them going. We've done Zooms with them and stuff to get them going, but they are like this well-oiled machine down there, and their enthusiasm and excitement has just like taken off. And they're not in a really big town, and there's at least 3, 4 of them that are there, and I think there's a couple that are outside of there. But it's just amazing me how they're like, Lindsay and I both have been like, they're launching themselves, they're closing parties, they're doing all this stuff. So they're a bunch of crystal rock stars down there for sure.
Heather, how have you been sponsoring people? What has your approach been for you to sponsor and to help your team members sponsor? What are you saying?
I think I am not a salesperson myself. Let me explain the facts to you, or as a critical care nurse, let me calculate your blood pressure for you. So I think it was by attrition or by attraction, sorry, different words. I think a big part, they saw Lisa and I having so much fun and this beautiful stuff. And it really was attraction and positivity and having fun. Having a lot of fun.
This word fun. Both Heathers have talked about fun. And I'm sensing that there's a little thread here that we can all probably be doing some thinking about. Like, how are we conveying fun? How do we, and not, we don't have to have either of their personalities. How can we convey that we're having fun with this? That could be super important. Heather, what's been most fun for you about this?
The woman empowerment, the sister empowerment, the positivity, I think each woman that does this and makes a little money feels more independent. And so I love the sisterhood and not, women so easily tear each other down. I love the woman building.
That's great. So who would like to ask either Heather 1 or Heather 2 some questions? We can take a few minutes of that.
Thing 1 and thing 2.
Thing 1 and thing 2. I'm unmuting all of you. Ask whatever you want. Well, maybe not, but you can ask.
Can I just say one thing real quick?
Yeah.
My backup, one of my signups, my Glam Ambassadors, she does Cabby, and she said, I cannot believe the support. And she's still, a month in, she'll say, I cannot believe how much support I've gotten. And like I said, my team here, we really help each other. And I said, we're in a small town. We're going to cross each other's paths or customers, or we're big girls. We put a big girl panties on, but we help each other. And Lisa and Lindsay have been phenomenal anytime we ask her. And the website, this is such a positive thing. So it's been amazing.
That is great. I love hearing it. So who has a question for either Heather 1 or Heather 2?
I have a question for Heather Driscoll.
Yeah.
Because I kind of live in a small town area as well. And there's about 5 or 6 of us now in our area, and the area about 45 minutes from us is starting to grow as well. But what are you doing to get the word out about Touchstone and to get people's interest? I mean, I've got this group that's really interested, but it's kind of seems like it's hard to break out of that little group. And so I want to, if you have any insight you can share.
Sure. I just signed up at the chamber for our little town. So I think I'll be able to display things there and talk to people. And I hadn't thought about that, but actually one of the girls that signed up works there, so she can't display her own stuff there. And she actually really encouraged me to do that. The other day at work, I don't know if I'll get in trouble for it, but I just started saying, hey, I'll be your Cupid. Do you want me to do Valentine's Day? I think I'm just always kind of marketing in the back of my head, which, like I said, it's brand new for me. But to quote Lisa, it's the stick of gum. You're just, hey, if somebody comes up to you and says, do you want a stick of gum? Or if you offer somebody a stick of gum and they say, no, thanks, you're not butthurt about it. It's just, so I wear the jewelry. Oh, isn't this pretty? I left a party tonight. Said, oh, we call her Miss Sparkly. I'm like, well, that is me. So stay positive and stay fun with it and share. Sorry, my daughter's calling.
Oh. Who else has a question for either one? I know you're all just dumbfounded. That would be me too. All right. Well, ladies, thank you so much. I really, really appreciate you sharing these remarkable successes. It's really fun for us to hear when someone new comes in, because a lot of times you have a different take on the way that we've been doing things. And it's really wonderful. So congratulations to both of you on your success. And we're really excited to have you check in again in a couple months, and so we can celebrate some more with you. I want to switch gears and talk a little bit about a couple of concepts that I think are really going to help you move your team to those kinds of numbers. And I want to share I want to share my screen with all of you as I'm talking to a couple of things. Since we don't have a ton of time on this call, we can do something separately to, so that I can, where did it go? So that we can actually play with some of the things specifically that I'm going to be talking about. Okay, can you all see this screen here where it talks about team building and setting monthly team goals? Are you able to see that? Yes, somebody say yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
All right, some of you have gone through this with me, and what I want to do is talk to you about some of the questions that you want to ask yourself this month. And this is actually something that you're going to, I will post this on the leader page, and I'll make sure that Lindsay gets a copy of it to post for all of Lindsay's leaders as well. This is a document that I came up with that helps me to stay focused and is helping some leaders, new leaders, and other leaders stay focused on how do I work with my team in the first week of every month. And that's why I wanted to share this with you tonight. And then I'm going to show you a couple of new tricks that maybe you're not aware of yet in the back office that will help you to do some of the work. So the first components to this, and the first component is focusing on $10,000 potential group sales. If you guys could all mute yourselves, that'd be great. Let's see. I can do mute. I will do mute all. Let's see. I can't because I got a thing at the top of my screen. Oh, well. Okay. So a lot of times we get stuck on focusing on minimums, especially when we're new. And when we have new leaders on our teams, say you're a senior group leader or a director, and you have leaders who are focusing on minimums, what we want to do is get them away from focusing on the minimums and having to worry about, am I going to make it this month? Am I, at 3 days before the end of the month, I don't know what my team is doing. Are they closing any parties out? It's hard to tell what they're doing. So there are some ways of solving all of that. The first one is to get people focused on a $10,000 central group sales month in the beginning of the month. So here we are, February 3rd, and maybe you've already hit $10,000, or maybe you've never hit more than 3,501. Regardless of that, pick your number. Maybe it's not 10,000, maybe it's 20,000, maybe it's 30,000. But the big question is, how many parties is that? When we start breaking this stuff down, it gets really simple. So what we learned is that a $3,500 central group sales, which is the minimum for group leader pay, is actually about 5 parties. So let's think about it. If it's 5 parties, that's probably 2 parties for the leader and maybe 1 party for each of the 3 team members, right? Theoretically. A $10,000 central group is 14 parties at $750 on average. And so then you start saying to yourself, well, where are those parties going to come from? So you have to answer that question. How many parties is your number? Where are the parties coming from? So to break that down, you say, well, how many am I intending to do? Now, keep in mind that the more parties you do, the more people you're going to meet, and the more team members you're going to sponsor. I've had people come to me and say, well, I really want to be a leader, and I want to do 2 parties a month. And I've said to them, it is pretty much statistically impossible, unless you have 20 people at each party, for you to do that, because you need to get in front of enough people. So you have to decide, how many parties do you actually intend to do? Then the next question is, who else will do the parties based on their goals? We're going to talk about how to figure that out in a minute. Here's the other component. Who am I going to sponsor this month to hold a launch and 1 more during the month? Who am I going to sponsor? Is it 1 person? Are there 2 people? Because let's pretend you're sponsoring 2 more in February using the Glam Cashback program incentive, and you sponsor 2 and they each hold a launch, and maybe you can get them each to hold 1 more party this month besides their launch. Help them to get that other party on the calendar. So suddenly that's 4 more parties toward that, maybe 14 parties. Then the next question is, who will I help? Who are my key team members to sponsor and to hold a launch and 1 more this month? So it's not just you sponsoring, it's who on your team is working and has had enough parties under her belt that she's got people she can go to sponsor. And so I'm going to show you in a minute how to figure out who those people are. So these are where the party's going to come from. They're going to come from you. They're going to come from your current team members. They'll come from people that you sponsor, and they'll come from people that your team members sponsor. So let's say you've got you and 3 team members, and you want to hit $10,000. The reality is, by the end of the month, you could have you and 4 personal sponsors and maybe a couple others who are second line to you. And all of them could be doing parties. So don't worry about where you are today. Focus on where you want to be at the end of the next 25 days, and then start working on the steps to get there. All right. So the next thing that we want to do is figure out how to help people set individual goals. And I'm going to show you in a minute some of the ways to look at your reports to help you determine who to work with. But let's pretend that you know who you're going to be talking to this week, this month, because it might not be everybody. As your team gets bigger, it may be that the ones who are inactive, you're not even going to fiddle with, okay? And that's okay. I'm going to give you permission if that's the case. But right now, let's talk about the ones that we decide that you're going to work with. The first one is to reach out to those people either toward the end of a month, like it would have been the end of January, or right around right now. And the question is, what do you want to accomplish in February? How much money do you want to make? How much time do you have to actually invest in your business? Or how much time do you have to spend on your business this month? What dates do you want to do parties? And this is where we pull out the Ready, Set, Glam calendar. And then we also pull out the Ready, Set, Glam 100 Contacts and Counting, or something like that, to help them figure out who are some of the people that they can reach out to today to offer a party to. These kinds of things we want to keep really simple, because if this is somebody who doesn't have any parties on her calendar at all, she just might need help getting that 1 or 2 parties booked. And that's something that you can help her with individually. Help her figure out when would she want to do parties if she could get them. And let's think of 5 people that you would like to reach out to, and I can help you with the words. So that's the next step, is coming up with the verbiage to send out those text messages or Facebook messages or phone calls. So those are the kinds of questions and the basic steps that we're going to use to work with these key team members. And then the last component that I want to share with you is this concept of the central group calendar. So, for a long time, those of you who have been with us have known that we've tried to create central group calendars, but honestly, we haven't had a great purpose for it. And now we have honestly the best purpose possible. It's so that you can help host coach each of those parties that your team members has. We cannot leave their host coaching to chance. We cannot leave our own host coaching to chance, because what I learned really critically was that zero host coaching on their part leads to low attendance and low sales and cancellations and probably them quitting. And honestly, this is the best, most key thing that we can do for our team members who have parties this month, is to help them host coach. The best way we can do that is using the new host coaching checklist. So checking in the day before the party with your team member literally does no good at all. So what does help? All right. So we want to walk alongside of her in the entire host coaching process several times so that she learns the whole system by doing it alongside of you. Yes, this does take time. And some people are going to figure it out faster than others. It might be that you're working with her once a week to talk to her about each one of her parties that are coming up. It might be that you're talking to her every couple of days. And you're certainly working with her a couple days before each party to make sure that she's helping the hostess with those text messages. But the cool thing is, after you've helped each of those consultants a couple of times and she's had some success, it's going to make all the difference for her, and she's not going to need you unless her party average dips. Okay, and then the day after the party, or maybe 2 days after the party at most, but preferably the day after the party, you want to talk to that consultant. Let her know ahead of time that you have a couple questions that you're going to ask her afterwards, because what's good about it is that then she knows that you're not like keeping a scorecard. You're not looking for the report card. That these questions are so that you guys can both sort of diagnose what went well, what can we do better next time, what worked great, what do people like about it, what was fun for you. So these are the questions that I like. Did you have fun last night at this party? Super critical, because Heather, what did you say? It was about fun, right? So if she's saying, well, no, it wasn't very fun, I didn't have a very good time, you as the leader have got some red alerts. Because if she's not having fun, her guests and hosts probably don't have a whole lot of fun either. What did you like best about that party? What would you do differently next time? Anything in particular that you left going, oh man, I forgot to blah, 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 because everybody does that. That's normal. How many parties were you able to book with a date? Do you need any help with getting those parties on the calendar? I can give you some ideas. Who do you want to follow up with about the business? Do you have some sponsor leads? Because ideally they're going and finding sponsoring leads. And then we ask them, how much did you sell? And then we help them calculate how much did they earn. So these are the kinds of questions that we can use with them to help them diagnose after the thing. And again, what we're trying to do is build rapport. You're not going to be doing this with somebody who's been with you for 6 months and does 3 parties every month. This is the kind of stuff that you do with newer people to make sure that they have a great level set for starting strong. When we can help our newer consultants have excellent parties, they're going to stick to you like glue, and they're going to stay with Touchstone Crystal because they're making money. And most of all, they feel competent. They feel successful. That is the most important thing that we can give them, is that feeling of success. They deserve to feel successful. So let me show you a couple of things. Give me a second here to tee up. I want to show you how we can look at these reports real quickly, because this is kind of fun. All right, if this is sharing yet. And I will post this document. Here we go. All right, so I'm going to go into business performance, and I'm just going to go to my own central group. It's February. And I'm going to look, you can look at, a lot of you look at group tree because it's easy to see who's under who, that kind of thing. But I want to encourage you when you're trying to figure out who to work with, that you go to group sortable or central org sortable or downline sortable. If you have leaders in your organization, you want to go to central org sortable. If you don't have any leaders yet in your organization, you'll work group sortable. When you have senior directors promoted out from your team, you work with downline sortable. Okay? So for right now, let's just look at group sortable. And I'm going to show you what mine looks like. So group sortable shows you, the sortable reports show us a lot more information than the tree reports. So the sortable reports go all the way over here. It shows you open parties for the month of February, not March, not January, but February. The personal sales volume, how many PSAQs she has currently, how many she has sponsored this month, how many parties she has closed this month, her central group sales, her central group net sales, which is without her own sales in it. So it's everybody but her is this number. If she has any level 1 leaders, and her organizational sales, if she happens to have a bunch of leaders on her team. Then it also goes, when you do a print, like when you do an export on this and use a .csv, you'll be able to get phone numbers, emails, and mailing addresses too on all these people, okay? You can't see it in this report, but you'll be able to see it when you actually do a .csv, and it ends up looking like this, a downline performance CSV. It's an Excel spreadsheet, basically. So there are a couple of ways of looking at this report that I love to do. The first is to see who has open parties. So right now, I see that my central group has a paltry, for my group, it should be a lot more, I have 28 PSAQs in my central group, and I've got exactly 9 parties open. Isn't that sweet? So here we go. I'm going to show you how to do some calculations to see who has parties open. Here is a little arrow here. When I hover to the right of any category, I get a little arrow, and when I click it, I get a drop-down menu. And I want to click Sort Descending. It's going to show me who has the parties in a list. So Kate Duffy has 2. My sister Kathy has 1. Janora has 1. Diane Isaac, Ginger, Rachel, Shay, and Kimber. These 2 are brand new. They just started. They haven't had their launch party yet. And Rachel had her launch, and then she's the one who posted about having done a Valentine's Day thing with all the husbands. So that was what she was put in. Okay. So you go, okay, so Kate Duffy has 2 parties. Kathy has 1. Janora has 1. What I want to do is get with each of them and find out from them when their parties are, because I want to put them on my calendar. Now, I also want to say, hey, Kate, are these live parties or are these catalog parties? I want to get a sense of what's really going on so that I'm not, chasing my tail trying to help somebody with a catalog party. That is not really worth my time. But let's say Kate has 2 parties on the calendar, and I know that Kate really has not done a whole lot, honestly, because I've known her for a long time. She doesn't do a whole lot of parties, and she probably needs my help hostess coaching. So I'm going to say to her, listen, I have an idea. I'm so excited about your 2 parties, but we have this brand new host coaching checklist. Would you allow me to work alongside of you with these 2 hostesses and use this checklist to see how high we can get your party attendance and your party sales? So when you put it that way, it's not that we're trying to get her to learn something new. We're trying to show her the benefit of allowing us to help her with this new process that we have. And then I'm going to go down the hill here and work with Kathy, work with Janora, Diane, Ginger, Rachel, and Shay. So that's the way that works, okay? So this is one way. This is how you start figuring out your priorities. The next thing you're going to do is go to status. So under status, there's an arrow also. And this time I'm going to sort ascending, because now what I'm looking for is all of my actives. Oops, it didn't do it. Sort ascending. No, oh yeah, it did. So these 2 gals, they're gone. Okay. So there's an active. So Shariza is active. She has no parties in the system. Debbie is active. She has no, I actually happen to know that Debbie has 8 parties in the month of February. I don't know why they're not in the system, but that's something that I want to ask her about because it's a great thing. She would, she would love, I'm sure, using this host coaching checklist. Grace Young, she's an A1. So the people who are actives are far more likely to wind up booking a party for February, and maybe I can help them do that. So there are all these,
what does the A1 mean again?
so A1 means that they sold something last month.
Oh, okay. Okay.
A2 means that they sold something in December. So I've got all these people with no open parties at the moment, right? So what I can do is go to each one of them and say, hey, do you want some help booking a party? Or do you have some parties and you just haven't put them in the system yet? Because that's kind of common. But seriously, this is not a good practice. Best practice is as soon as we book that party, we want them putting it in the system because then they can share the link with the hostess and start promoting that party. And I don't care if the party's at the end of the month. I want them putting those parties in the system right away so that we can help them, that we know what's going on and we can help them better. So this is my next piece of intel. All these A1s, they don't have parties listed in the system. I want to go back to them and ask them if I can help them get a party on the calendar. And again, this is how we can help drive party count and we can help people feel more successful. By the way, we can do this with the PSV, which is personal sales volume. So we can see, of course, not much has been sold yet, but this is how you would do it, is to find out who has the most sales, do sort descending. And then you end up with, back up here, go to the top. Didn't work. There we go, that worked. So now I can see that Rachel is in the lead, Debbie Pickens closed one out, Shariza has this one, and Ginger has $128 in. So just to give you an idea of how to work with some of these pieces of information. Okay, so what questions do you have about this? Did I go too fast or does that make sense? Anything about that?
That helps.
Okay, all right. So this is how we figure out who to work with, because your time is really precious, right? You're off doing your own parties. You're off, starting your own new team members, and you go, wait, I got all these people. I feel so responsible for all of them. How do I help them all? You don't. You really prioritize using these kinds of systems and the kinds of questions that I showed. And that's going to make your life a lot easier. Work with those who are working, but then also work with the ones who were working yesterday or last month, right? Because they're the most likely ones to actually work. Once they get to inactive, they're probably not coming back. Probably not.
Can you give us an example of what you would say to like an A?
Yeah.
When you're reaching out to them?
So an A would be, remind me, Terry, what do they classify as just a plain old A?
Means they haven't sold, they're about to go inactive.
An A as opposed to an A3?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Is that right, Liz? No.
I don't know.
A3. So what does it mean when it just says A?
Usually says active plus if they've sold in the current month, A1 if they sold the month before, A2 2 months before, A3 3 months before, and then right before they go inactive, right? And so then they go to I1. I've never seen a plain old A.
A. Yeah, I've been seeing that a lot lately, and I don't know if that's like this, if they're brand new.
Yeah.
Maybe it's that they're
A, and then A1 they sold last month, A2 they sold 2 months ago, A3 they sold 3 months ago.
Yeah, it normally says A plus unless they change that.
I don't
for
know.
like current sales.
We'll have to check
Have
it
you
out.
changed how you're reaching out to them versus if they're A1, 2, or 3?
Honestly, it depends on the amount of time that I have. I go to the A1s first, and then I go to the A2s if I still have time. Especially in the beginning of the year, I would go to the A3s, and I would say, hey, have you seen the new catalog? I mean, I would keep it really basic. Would you like to kickstart and do a launch party for the new catalog in February? I'm happy to help you with a host coaching checklist to make it a great party. That's all I would say. I would not be investing time and energy and I would send her the link to the new catalog. Maybe she's not seen it. Maybe she has seen it and didn't care. It's hard to know sometimes.
So that's what you would say to the A3s. Hey,
Yeah.
would you be interested?
Yeah. Whereas an A1, it would be more like, can I help you? How can I'd love to hear what your goals are for February. Can I help you get a party on the calendar?
A1 and A2?
Yeah. But I would be working through the A1s first. And if I still had time, I would go to the A2s and the A3s.
Okay.
You know, it's kind of like you want to work with the ones who haven't dug their heels in and have the brakes totally on.
Okay, I have the answer. I just did a quick look. I have the answer. Sherry, if they've sold under 500 in the current month, they're active. If they've sold more than 500 in the current month, they're active.
They're active plus. Okay.
Okay.
That would make sense why those said A. Okay. Thanks, Liz.
That's great. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Thank you. That makes a lot of sense.
Okay. Yeah.
Since we're talking about that, just really quickly, I know you have to have sold 500 the previous month to get the 50% discount.
Right.
If someone hits it in the current month, does that automatically kick in or does it literally like the following month?
Following month.
Okay.
Great question. Yeah, the following month. Okay. So, any other questions about that? Is that helpful? Oh, good. Cheryl likes
Yes, I had no idea what those numbers meant.
Yeah, it's very useful. And again, it's a way of analyzing strategy for your business of who to help first. That's a super important thing. It's sort of like triage in the critical care unit, Heather Driscoll. Who can you help best? It's going to be the ones who are the A1s who don't happen to have a party on the calendar. Okay. So one other thing that I want to talk about is the Glam Cashback. And I'm interested to hear who has had success in sharing the Glam Cashback incentive with people, and what kinds of words have you used most effectively? Because yay, we still have it. I'm so glad. I'm very happy about it.
I can tell you that I had a few people on my sister's team. They were very apprehensive to join because they didn't have the $139 to join. They're like, I can't do it until next month. I have to get a paycheck. So for them, it was very beneficial because either they were able to borrow the money from someone, and they know that, okay, it's kind of giving them the drive to work hard to hit that goal, to be able to pay back who they borrowed from.
Yeah.
So it helped a lot of people who needed it. It was in that aspect.
That's great. And they made the income once they hit those sales numbers. Who else? Yep. Free. Heather Driscoll says free. You say free? The free kit? Is that what you say? Are you muted for a reason? You can't tell us? Do you want to unmute? I'm trying to unmute you.
I just unmuted. Thank you. No, if you tell them it's free, it's pretty inexpensive to start, but then you get it back pretty quickly. That is super motivational.
Right. But so for example, let's pretend you're sponsoring me and we're at a party and I'm a guest, Heather Driscoll, and I said, yeah, I don't know, maybe I'll think about doing that. Are there any specials or anything like that in particular this month?
Well, last month was phenomenal for the hostess dollars, but then this month. And are you asking me to? Yeah. To expand or?
Yeah. Tell me what you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Tell me what you would say to me. Like if I were at a party, at your party.
Yeah, I say it's very little output. You start making money almost immediately. They put money right into your account, and it starts at 25 and it goes up and up. It's kind of amazing. And check your account, but telling them that it comes back rather quickly and that the sales, look at the sales from this party right here today, and I'm going to make this much. The host is going to get this much for free. That really works it.
Right. Did you guys have some success talking specifically about the Glam Cashback as in relation, I'm curious about, have you all found some verbiage that works in explaining the GLAM plan and the GLAM cashback program? Because they leapfrog each other, right? There's $1,000, you get $250 in jewelry. At $1,500, you get $49 in money. At $2,000, you get $250 in jewelry. Blah blah blah. Has anybody had some success in explaining all of that in a simple way to people? Or have you had to? Has that needed to be a conversation with all the sponsoring that's going on?
Well, what I say to people is that they can essentially try this opportunity for free. Okay. And along the way, they're paid back their investment. And I have the little flyer to show them the breakdown so they can visually see when you get the money back. Okay. So you give them the visual. Okay, great. Who else?
You know, I've just been skipping the first level altogether, letting them know if they're doing 2 to 3 parties, which is what it is on average, they're getting not only a full rebate on their kit, but they're making $750 in income, $500 in jewelry, and a 70% discount. And that's just how I'm presenting it and leaving it at that.
Okay, can you say that again?
So if they start the business and they do 2 to 3 parties, an average party of 2 to 3 parties, they're going to earn $750 in income, a full rebate on their kit, $500 in free jewelry, and a 70% discount. And that's 2 to 3 parties.
So you're assuming that 2 to 3 parties is how much in income? $2,500 in sales.
So probably closer to 3, I'd say.
Yeah.
But in January, it was 2 to 3.
Right. You know, it'd be interesting if we said to them, do 3 or 4 parties and get $900 in income, your kit rebated back $1,000 in jewelry and 70% off the line.
Yeah.
I hadn't thought about it that way, Terry, but I really like that.
Simple.
It's very, it's just very simple, and it just shows the net effect of each of those components. How do you?
I like the word rebate. I think that's a perfect word for this.
Rebate.
Which I hadn't really thought of it as a rebate. I keep thinking cash back, but I really like that word rebate because it's just cleaner.
Okay.
And speaking of cleaner, I don't show the flyer at all, ever.
You don't give them a visual at all?
I don't, because I think it's a little bit confusing.
Huh. Do you feel like the home office needs a different flyer?
Yeah, I think it's too much wording on one page.
Okay.
I really think they should move the rebate to $3,000. I think they should run it with the GLAM plan.
Interesting. Has anybody here had anybody get their money back yet?
Heather Driscoll.
Heather, you got yours back, and I think a bunch of your people did too.
Yeah.
I've had another.
Kind of jumped all over it.
Money back so far.
You have?
Yeah, she's working on the other half, but she's gotten half of it.
That's great. That's great, Lisa. Okay.
Carrie had someone as well. Stephanie Biter.
She did. Yeah, exactly. That's really neat.
She's already sold 3,000 in 2 weeks.
Jess had someone get her rebate back too.
Yeah, she's I mean, her launch was $2,000, so she's wow. And if it was a great motivator, she told me her goal was $1,600 for her launch. She thought that would be a great way to get, close to that rebate right away. And when she hit 2,000, that was pretty exciting.
That's awesome. Just how did you help host coach her on that launch party?
Really just, we would talk and text a lot coming up to it almost daily. And I mean, she's so organized. She's on the ball. I kept, I was like, oh, do you want me to bring this? She said, no, I've got it. I went to her house an hour before the party. I think that calmed her down a little bit. Just, we had that time to talk and set everything up. And she's just, she's a natural. She's great. I think just me chatting with her and being there, and it was great. But she did it all. It was amazing.
And she did it all, right?
She did, because at first it was so funny. A week before, she said, "Now, but you'll still do it, right? Like, you'll do the talking." And I said, "I'll do whatever you want me to do." And so when I got there, I said, "How do you want to do this? Do you want to just, you talk and I chime in, or you let me know? She's like, yeah, I'll start and you let me know if I'm missing anything. And of course she didn't. I mean, it was just there for moral support. It was great. So, and she had gone to a party with Terry the week before, and that really eased her because she did totals and practiced in there. So she really felt prepared.
It's really good. I love that. I'm working with a new gal named Shay. Her launch party is on Saturday, and I'm going to go, but I said to her, here's what I want you to study. I gave her Shanna's video about the 5-part party. I showed her where the video is for the 5-part party that's in the back office. Showed her where her party cards are in her starter kit that had just arrived. It's in the back page of the Ready, Set, Glam guide. And I said, you are going to do the 5-part party. I'm going to pour the wine and I'll be there to help answer any questions. And the really cool thing is that because she's feeling very empowered now, 6 days before her launch party, that she could totally do this. She's a nervous wreck a little bit, but I did this with somebody else 2 weeks ago, and I said, nope, you're going to do your own presentation. I will be there to pour the wine. It just so happens that these two live close by to me. Otherwise, I wouldn't try to get there. And I would empower them instead. And it's neat because they have both really taken off and taken on a lot of responsibility for themselves instead of relying on me for a lot of things. So it's been kind of a neat shift. But I think this is where we're shifting to. So Jess, it worked out really well in your favor that she took that ball and ran with it already. That's awesome.
Yeah, no, she was fun to watch. So it was good.
That's great. That's and the best thing that we can do, I think, is empower these new team members to immediately take responsibility for their party. And we are the ones who answer the door, and we let her be the consultant and not just the hostess of her launch party. Okay. So any questions, any thoughts about what you've picked up tonight? And what was your biggest aha?
How to use the system to focus on who's working.
Okay.
Or who you need to reach out to.
Okay. Great, Lori. Thanks.
Yeah, I agree. That was good to see. I appreciate you going through that.
Good. We'll do more of that. There's more. Okay. Anybody else?
I like that too. I think it's helpful to see who to contact at the beginning of the month.
Yeah.
Because I know, sometimes we flounder a little bit to want to contact them all, and we just don't have the time to do that. So, Sorry, Jess, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, you're fine. No, I keep trying to do Heather Taylor's You Should Do This. I did meet a woman at my last party this weekend who she was interested, and so but she didn't have much to say. I guess when I tried to ask open-ended questions, she didn't have much to say. And she said, well, I just would like to know more about it. So I just started talking, and then I caught myself and I said, I'm sorry, I keep talking. And she said, no, I'm enjoying hearing about what you've done. And then when she found out I'd only been doing it since October, November, she was really shocked to see how much jewelry was there. So it was a good conversation. And it really just started with me saying the should word, right? You should do this. So we'll see. So I'm focused on that. You should do this. You should try this. So.
You know what's funny is that the word should is my least favorite word in the English language, but used this way, it's meant in an encouraging way. Like, you should totally do this, that kind of a way. It's meant in a cute way. So I'm having
it's like a compliment, actually.
It is like a compliment.
Yeah.
I love it. That's neat, Jess. Congratulations. Yay. I love it. Anybody else? Okay. Well, Heather, thank you for showing us how it is done. And I'm just so excited for both of you. I cannot wait to see what you do next. We just love to watch all of your progress. And Jess, congratulations on your success. Way to go, girl. And we will see all of you next time. And if there's ever any topic that you're just really stuck on as a leader that you want to cover in the next leader call, just let me know what that would be. And we'll probably keep doing a lot more of these testimonials, but also a lot of the back office stuff. All right. Love you guys. Have a
Betsy,
great.
Betsy, you're still doing the meeting tomorrow night, right?
Yes, tomorrow night at 9.
You want us to kind of trickle that down to our team?
Yep, that'd be great. Thank you.
Checking.
Thank you. Yeah, I've got an event on the event page on the Star Thrower team. Terry's team is doing something else. I'm not sure what Lindsay's team is doing.
Oh.
And
Betsy, anyone that's not coming to my live one, I'll probably filter over.
What?
I'll probably filter anyone that's not coming to the live one. I've got a couple of people sick and out of town.
Okay. Okay. Cool. All right, ladies.
Thank you.
Crazy about you. Thank you so much. Have a great night.
Thank you.
Thank you.